Aloha, everybody. Rachel here. Happy full moon, Shabbat Shalom. It had been a little while since I shared one of my sermons from Rabbi School with anyone, and I woke up this morning called to share this week's. It's a little different, so here goes nothing. Shabbat Shalom. Trying something a little different this week, knowing that I create as I speak. This should help with the worry of time and the clock, and knowing that I sometimes go a bit too fast when I talk. See, tapping into this divine poetic flow, I feel if I nurture this gift, it will continue to grow. I know that the rabbi I'm meant to become is not meant to be the typical one, so I will no longer try and fit into this mold. To be honest with you, that way seems too old. For the purpose and what I wish to share, this call I have received is just so clear. The female rabbi with the long curly hair, I break away from the norm because I care. See, we're in a time where young Jews are hard to be found. Many have lost touch with our holy ground. They don't feel connected to Israel or Jews, and this is something they are welcome to choose. But I know my purpose is to show them there's more, a much deeper spiritual meaning to Judaism at its core. The moon, the stars, the waves, and the sand, the promise that was made when we fled the Holy Land. In this week's Torah portion, we really see God's scorn as he brings upon Pharaoh the death of the firstborn. This was a story that always seemed so dark. For me, it really just seemed to miss the mark. Yet we know that with darkness there must be light. And this is what Judaism teaches. And it's right. For in this week's portion, there is much beyond the surface. When we look even deeper, we realize it was all worth it. The pain we endured, the slavery we faced, we didn't fight back. We acted with grace. God came to save us as God always does when we put our trust in whatever's above. Moses didn't question God or his spirit. He was silent, present. He was able to hear it. When he let God take over, God came to clear it. Moses didn't have to do much work other than letting go and choosing to serve. His people, his land, he led them with pride, and they were able to flee Egypt out of darkness into light. With bags of riches they received as they'd been told, gold, silver, and garments, God's promise to Abraham upholds. They received much more beyond freedom and wealth, for in this week's Torah portion, I believe we were given health. Not the health we think about in our modern day eye, but the health that comes from connecting to moonlight. Yes, in this week's Torah portion, our lunar calendar is born, and a connection with the moon begins to be formed. Yes, God's first mitzvah we were given, a calendar based on the moon to be written. Not the first culture that would find this divine route. Hawaiians, Native Americans, just to name a few. No, two, the moon, what it's all about. This great mitzvah God granted us with, for us to connect to the moon. This was God's wish. In that moment, we were commanded to celebrate. Be present with the moon on many dates. New moon, full moon, waning crescent, and more. God connected us for a reason, that's for sure. When we feel our connection to the moon we see, it's something we all share, both you and me. It pulls the tides and affects our moods, and when we are aware of the moon, we know how to make do. So this is why God gave us this gift, a calendar based on lunar shift, because that is where our true connection lies, below with the earth and above with the sky. When we pay attention to the moon new and full, it can help us to achieve our goals. For me personally, I have found this to be true, and I hope to share this gift with you. Just as God helped us before, I know that we need to restore our connection with the sacred, the moon, and the stars, not just trying to figure out if we can fly to Mars, but tapping into what is really happening above. We can start to treat ourselves with love, understand that a chaotic new moon will take its toll until at last it becomes full. But if we are aware and intentions we set, we can ensure that our needs are met. Yes, this is why God gave us this gift. And I know what I share with you is God's wish. For when we are quiet and listen to the divine, we celebrate the moon cycle at its proper time. We tap into a part of ourselves we have lost, where we used to talk to the moon, trees, and rocks. We were able to listen to what they had to say. We listened to God in the most conscious way. Yes, this is the calling that comes of us now. No need to ask who, where, when, why, or how. Moses didn't question and look how it went. Only wealth was gained and no money spent. See, this is why I believe many see us as chosen. But this is where others seem to go frozen, turned off by the fact we think different than others, not realizing we come off like an old Jewish mother. Yet if we choose to look at the light, we can see that Judaism was kind of right. We aren't chosen or different than anyone else. We aren't always born into wealth. Yet spiritual wealth we receive in abundance because true Judaism, we realize the oneness. Hawaiians, Native Americans, Hindus, yes, you see, I believe they're Jews too. I truly believe that we are all one, and that is what Judaism was trying to become. A culture meant to unify and serve, not having to follow anyone's word. We encourage open-mindedness and freedom to choose. I don't believe anyone really can lose. We all wear labels, but we are all still just the same, and to me that fact will always remain. Because even the Egyptians shared the wealth with the Hebrews, despite rushing them out without a moment to lose. Because truly, at the end of it all, you are really not too small. To be a part of this consciousness shift, to find your voice and share your gift. To step out of darkness and into light, connect with that sacred divine moonlight. Yes, I promise if you choose to connect with the moon, you will find it all happening very, very soon. This is what we should focus on, I think. The oneness we share. We're the same, you and me. So let's see these stories as the guides that they are, and let them lead us back to the moon and the stars. For Abraham, Moses, Jacob, Rachel, Leah too, they were no different than me and you. So I hope that my diddly D'var is okay, that I chose to flow for you this way today. It feels so much more straight from my heart, and I know that everyone can connect via art. Sharing the truth, Rabbi Rachel I become, I know this path is a divine one. I hope you enjoyed my sermon today. Love and light to all. Mahalo. Namaste.